Folks, Dom Lawson here with another degrading and pointless Iron Sandwich for you. Many thanks to everybody who's been watching these things so far. Don't know what's wrong with you, to be perfectly honest, but I had zero expectations when I was first asked to do these things, and I assumed that nobody would give a shit. And it turns out that at least 9 of you do, so you know, I'm very grateful if you've been watching them and hopefully enjoying them, or at least not hating me too much. I shall continue to do it until I'm told to stop. Actually, I might even continue doing them after I've been told to stop. They just won't get put online, and I'll just be sitting here talking to myself, which is fairly standard behaviour anyway, really. So today I've got my giant cup of hot cat urine, which that's one for the large mug fans out there, of which I know at least one who's identified himself. Today I'm going to talk to you about Manowar, because it's Monday, and everyone should listen to Manowar on a Monday. Manowar have re-recorded their debut album, Battle Hymns, which is, for my money, one of the greatest heavy metal debut albums of all time, and they've re-recorded it in its entirety using, you know, modern production techniques and all the rest of it. And yeah, I know many people will argue that it's a pointless exercise, and I think that kind of depends on how you feel about production, really, in many ways. You know, I know a lot of people who are very much into their old school 80s heavy metal and stuff, and I am too, you know, and there's a very strong argument to be made for the fact that a lot of the albums that were released during that period, during the 80s, have an atmosphere and a charm and an energy that simply can't be produced now, that, you know, because of the precision and the sonic clarity of production in the 21st century, that we've kind of lost some of that atmosphere and that kind of that naivety, I suppose, that made those records so powerful. But on the other hand, you could also say that, you know, the reason why a lot of those albums sounded the way they did in the early 80s was because they couldn't have been made to sound any better. That was just the extent of the technology at that point. And there's a lot to be said for modern production techniques that make things sound huge and heavy. So Manowar are taking advantage of that and have re-recorded Battle Hymns, and we're going to be giving it away with our 25th anniversary edition of Metal Hammer. So, you know, if you're a Manowar fan, or even if you're not, you can get a free album. And I think I can hear Ozzy coming in again. Hang on a second. Hey, Oz.
There's stuff down there.
There's stuff down there. Are you playing Sonic the Hedgehog on my phone by any chance?
Stuff down there.
Stuff down there. Excuse me a minute, folks. I've just got to crash through this wall so that Ozzy can continue with his game of Sonic the Hedgehog. There's a little trouble with the crashing through walls thing. Oh, well, apparently I do as well. But anyway, I was just talking about... Oz, do you like Manowar?
Yeah.
Good, there you go. That's the correct answer. So yeah, Battle Hymns, MMXI, Battle Hymns 21. It's a classic record anyway, and there's a lot to be said for the fact that you know, there will be a large, substantial audience of people out there who haven't heard Battle Hymns, never heard it before, you know, and only know Manowar through the kind of derisory comments that they get online from people who don't know what they're talking about, saying, oh, they're a joke band, or oh, they're just being silly, or look at their loincloths, aren't they ridiculous? Well, you're ridiculous, go fuck yourself. There you go, mate. Enjoy.
Thank you.
I've successfully crashed through the wall. So yeah, you know, my argument would be that what they've done is they've re-recorded the album in its entirety, and although you can't really improve on something as brilliant as the original version of Battle Hymns, what you can do is make it sound better, and make it relevant for a new audience, and they've certainly done that. And the only real major difference, I would say, is that obviously Orson Welles is extremely dead at this point, so his bit of narration on the splendid Dark Avenger has been done by Sir Christopher Lee, and obviously if you're going to replace someone as monumental as Orson Welles, then then Sir Christopher Lee would certainly be your top choice, wouldn't he? Really, and he's done an absolutely splendid job, and it all sounds very epic and impressive. So I think the key to these things is whether or not you want to hear a new version of something old, you know. And I think a lot of people kicked off when Exodus re-recorded "Bonded by Blood" a few years ago, and they made a point of updating it. The band sounded different, sounded a lot more precise, and a lot more. The production was a lot more modern, and and obviously Rob Dukes is a very different vocalist from Paul Baloff, so realistically, the new version of "Bonded by Blood" was never going to sound the same, you know. And so if you obviously Bonded by Blood is one of the greatest heavy metal albums of all time, and if you don't want to hear a new updated version of that which sounds different and has a different atmosphere, a different feel to it, then obviously don't listen to it. It's fine, no one's forcing you to. But on the other hand, I think both are valid, and there will certainly be a large, substantial generation of kids that have grown up listening to modern metal, and who probably came in around the time of Slipknot or Killswitch Engage, or any of that kind of early 21st century stuff, and they expect a certain level of production, and they're not going to understand, the appeal of the atmosphere of those early 80s things. So, I think it's valid, and I think Manowar have done such an excellent job of this. They've not altered the spirit of battle hymns. They've not kind of robbed it of any of its energy. It sounds fantastic. Eric Adams sings his arse off as usual, and the songs are so brilliant. I mean, it's a flawless record anyway, but the songs are so amazing that no amount of tinkering is going to spoil that. The title track in particular, and Dark Avenger with Christopher Lee on it, those two are just jaw dropping. And as I say, you can get it free with Metal Hammer, and what could be better? You don't even have to steal it. You don't even have to break the law and upset Randy from Lamb of God, which is always a good thing, because I find him a little bit scary. But there you go. So there we have it. Battle Hymns 21 by Manowar, one of the greatest heavy metal albums of all time, but re-recorded so that I would argue it's slightly better, and yet slightly worse at the same time. I'm trying to be reasonable. And there you go. Wonderful. Get it for free. You don't even have to trust my opinion. You can just get it for free and use it as a coaster, chuck it out the car window, whatever. Or you can listen to it, which is the thing that I recommend. Hopefully later in the week we'll have more of these iron sandwiches, and they won't be. They'll be a bit more kind of cutting edge and state of the art and cool, for you kind of hip folk that wear sports casual leisure wear and think that the Deftones are a heavy metal band. But it probably won't. It'll probably just be a bunch of old fucking heavy metal bollocks as usual, and quite right too, because that's the whole point of this, really. So there, good day to you. I'm going to have a bit more of my cat urine. Delicious. And yeah, hopefully I shall see you all for more slightly idiotic rambling tomorrow. Cheers. Have a lovely day, and I mean that most sincerely. Bye.